Mike Sullivan. I'm a former IRS agent. I was a teaching instructor at IRS. I have written a book. I just try to do a little promo every now and then. It's called The IRS Secrets for Settlements. It's a best-selling book on Amazon. I don't promote it. I just show you. I know what the hell I'm talking about. A lot of people can't pay their IRS bill. Bad season of time. They lost their job. A lot of reasons people can't pay. So when people call me, and I can't take all cases, I take the larger ones. I get a lot of calls, honestly, because of this YouTube station, and people say, well, how do I get put in hardship or I can't pay? So how does IRS know that I can't pay? Like, what goes on there? Well, and they say, well, do I have to apply for hardship status with IRS? And no, it's really not that. It's not that at all. What actually has to happen is this: you have to go ahead and give IRS a financial statement. So when you have an outstanding bill from IRS has to close your case. That's what I used to do for a living. I've closed thousands of IRS cases, both in private practice and working for IRS. So now you have an inventory case that is on the IRS computer system, and now they need to know what it's an actual account. It used to be called a taxpayer delinquent account. So some IRS says you owe money. IRS has to close that. Generally, they close it one of three ways: either a payment agreement, a hardship, or that's a currently non-collectible, or an offer in compromise, where you can't close the offer in compromise over the phone. It's a long process. It takes 6 months, a bunch of forms. That's why I wrote the book. But so if you can't pay your debt, IRS actually has to take a documented financial statement on you, and generally that's over the phone. The bigger the cases are worked by the revenue officers that come out to your case comes out to the local office. They'll take a 433A. It's a much longer version of the financial statement. Usually on payroll cases or larger dollar cases, but generally over the phone they will ask for a 433F. Once they go ahead and look at that form and you meet their criteria. Now, what's the criteria? What's the big secret to be put in hardship? Well, you have to understand what the National Standard Program is. What this means is that IRS goes ahead and dictates what your expenses need to be put in hardship. They just can't allow someone $3,000 rent, or someone $4,000 and someone $1,800. There's a chart. IRS must follow the chart. It's called the National Standard Test. You can Google IRS National Standards and they will tell you what the national standards are. That means they're only going to accept to that dollar amount before they'll put you in a hardship. Now, the 4 national standards tests generally in these categories are food and clothing, housing and utilities, car payments, and car expenses. Everything else they pretty much allow except for credit cards and things like that. You're going to have to fit into the IRS's budgetary proprietors that they want to use on every single case. But the 4 main categories: housing and clothing. The big one is housing and food and clothing, housing and utilities. They're the big ones. So you must go to the IRS national standards and find out what they're going to allow you. Once you go over in those categories, you're not going to be put in hardship before you even call IRS. That's why using a professional is good. If you don't have the money, you can't. But if you don't have the money, you better do some due diligence and research, because if you're paying too much for rent, IRS isn't going to put you in hardship. You may have a $200, $300, $400 a month payment, because IRS can only allow you X amount of dollars, and that's all predicated on the county you live at and all that, and how many people are in your family. So as long as you're staying within the IRS's budget for that, you're fine. If you want to find them, Google IRS National Standards. When you go for housing and utilities, which is the big one, you'll have to enter your state, then find your county, and then find the number in your family, and you'll find out exactly what IRS is going to allow you. Start there before you ever make a call with IRS. I'm a former agent. I've worked thousands of cases, been on many news stations. Like I said, I've written a book on IRS settlements. Anyway, give me a subscription if you would. I always tell you the truth. If you can work your own case, God bless you. Have a good one. Thank you for the subscription.